piece of evidence that could link his claims is a package belonging to the other gunman, Nicoletti. In the supposed package, buried by the side of a road, lies potential proof of perpetrators, dates, and contracts of hundreds of unsolved cases, including the murder of the president.
Hi, I'm Jane King, and this is New to the Street, in person back here at the NASDAQ market site in New York City. This show is all about public, private, blockchain companies, the CEOs, the founders, and the innovators, bringing you lots of opportunities to consider. Here we go. Tonix is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company that is focused on discovering, licensing, acquiring, and developing therapeutics to diagnose and treat diseases and just to make people's lives in general better. And the company is traded here at the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol TNXP. With me is CEO Seth Letterman. Welcome, Seth. And I understand you are looking into long COVID and whether there's anything Tonix can do to help with that. Can you explain what you're doing there?
Thank you, Jane, and thanks for having me on. Yes, as you know, we've been working on fibromyalgia for many years. And even before I entered the biotech industry, I was a rheumatologist and a professor at Columbia Medical School. So I have had a long history studying fibromyalgia. And at Tonix, we have a very active program. It's mid-phase 3 in treating fibromyalgia. So when we first saw long COVID emerge, we realized that about 2/3 of patients with long COVID have a syndrome that's very similar to fibromyalgia. And that's why we've met with the FDA. We have an IND clearance, and we're about to start a phase 2 study testing our fibromyalgia drug for its ability to study long COVID. Now, long COVID, you know, let me just go for the audience. Long COVID occurs in about 1/3 of people who recover from COVID. So once the acute phase of COVID is over, about 1/3 of people wind up with lingering chronic symptoms. And the symptoms are widespread pain, trouble sleeping, fatigue, and brain fog. And those are really the same 4 main symptoms of fibromyalgia. That's what attracted us to it and what got us so interested. Yeah. So we just looked into a database of 75 million lives to see how feasible our study would be, since we're going to focus on long COVID with widespread pain. And from that, we found that about 41%, more than 40% of people out there in the United States, adults, we think would qualify for the phase 2 study we're about to do.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was 1 in 3 people who had COVID have long COVID. That is a high percentage. I mean, this could potentially be a big market.
It is a very large market. It's also an enormous threat to the health of the people in the United States and to our healthcare system. And that's why on April 5th, President Biden announced an unprecedented government-wide effort to deal with long COVID. Okay. This is a very big storm brewing, because the things we know about long COVID is about 1/3 of people get it. And the recent studies have shown that vaccination doesn't prevent it.
Oh, boy.
So the rate of long COVID after breakthrough infection, the breakthrough is what people generally call COVID in someone who's vaccinated. The rate of long COVID in breakthrough does not appear to be lower or much lower than the rate of long COVID in people that weren't vaccinated. So this is a big problem headed towards us. A study in England found that about 25% of long COVID patients can't return to work.
Goodness.
So we are really looking at a very big problem. And, because we've been studying fibromyalgia so long, and because we have a clear conception about what's causing long COVID, we're really out in front here. And we're very excited to start this program.
Yeah, well, and this disease just continues to kind of mystify us, this virus. So now let's talk a little bit about TNX 102SL. I'm getting that all right. So
yes.
Mid-phase 3, this is for fibromyalgia implant
yes.
on COVID. Explain to me what's going on with that.
Sure. So we have one positive phase 3 study that's completed, and to file our NDA and get approval, you typically need a second study. We've just started enrolling that second study. So we expect to have interim data in the first quarter of next year and to complete the study next year also. 102SL is a sublingual tablet. So that's a tablet that goes under the tongue and it releases the medicine directly into what's called the mucosal membrane. And it's taken once nightly at bedtime. So every night at bedtime, people in the trial take the medicine, and our model is that it improves sleep quality. So it's not a sleeping pill. It doesn't knock you out. It's not a benzo. It's not a hypnotic, and it doesn't cause all the other problems of those drugs. But what this does is, taken every night over a period of time, improves sleep quality. And our view is that if you can improve sleep quality, there's, the effects ripple through the nervous system, and there's an element of healing that goes on so that some of these other symptoms like widespread pain, cognitive disorder, brain fog, and fatigue actually get better. But we think that sleep is the Achilles heel, if you will, of fibromyalgia, that if you want to really crack fibromyalgia, if you can improve people's sleep, then what we found in a phase 3 study is they get better. Okay.
Well, we look forward to the updates as always. Dr. Lemon, great to see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
SEKUR is an instant messaging and email service that is encrypted and is good for confidential communications. And we do know and read about hacks almost on a daily basis. So with me is the CEO of SEKUR, Langahi, to talk about the company and then also some of the products you have for people. So let's just start with, you've got a new product, right?
Yes.
Check by invite?
Yes.
Okay,
correct,
tell me about that.
So anyway, hi everyone, thanks for watching. Basically, we launched our new messenger tool with a chat by invite. What it means is that whether you're in the US, Canada, most of Latin America now and some countries in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, you can text anyone with a phone number from these countries and invite them to chat with you. Now, why that's important? As you know, if you use a chat application, the recipient needs to have the same application. They also ask for your phone number every time when you download those. First of all, we don't ask for your phone number, so it's way more private and secure. The hackers don't know that you even have an account, that you're using it. And now you can chat with anybody in the world that has a mobile phone, because you can just text them and say, hey, Alain wants to chat with you. And then you click on the link. It's like, okay, and then we open a channel and we chat together in a private and secure manner, as if you had SEKUR. And the thing is that when I initiate the conversation, when I terminate it, even if you click again on the link, it's going to be gone. It's going to probably prompt you to buy the service. Okay. But what's really good is that you don't have to download anything. You don't have to register to anything. So it's great for businesses. You know, you have the financial industry, legal, medical, insurance, mortgage, I mean, you name it. People communicate a lot with their clients, and that's going to facilitate, and we're doing it worldwide. As you can see, we've got Colombia, Mexico, a bunch of Latin American, Central American countries, US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland, obviously, and a couple of countries in Europe. And we're going to keep expanding, because you need to be able to have the SMS gateway to text the people from that country. So we keep adding countries.
So walk me through it. So I need the app, the SEKUR app, which I can download on iOS and Google?
Yeah.
Okay. And then through that, I can text somebody?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
first I would recommend you go to sekur.com.
Okay.
You buy the solution. After that, you can download, because you need to create your account.
I see.
And that needs to be done with us. Then you download on iOS or Android, you sign in, and then you basically can use chat by invite. You can use it using your address book, your contact book. It'll upload it for you. Or if somebody is not in your address book, you put their name, their phone number, it'll send them an invite to click, and then the channel is open. It's a private tunneling system, and the entire communication only happens in our Swiss encrypted server environment, as opposed to sending encryption keys back and forth over the internet. And that's critical to know, because when you send keys back and forth, they can be hacked. Whereas when it's in a server and it never leaves that server, you can be in Tokyo, I can be in Australia. We're both communicating in Switzerland. That's the cool part about it.
Interesting. Okay. And there's also an email service.
Yes. So SEKUR is a bundle of the email service and the SEKUR Messenger. Now we launched SEKUR as a bundle. We have SEKUR Mail, which is just the email, and SEKUR Messenger. We also launched business services, where you can have your domain name with us, or you can migrate your existing business. Most people probably, they already have a business and emails, and they don't want to have data mining and big tech. They want to move to us for privacy and security. Nobody will even know they moved, because they can keep their domain. So that's pretty cool. So that's already out. And we have other products that are coming out as well. Our email application, which will let you have the SEKUR Send privacy feature from your phone without going through webmail, that's going to be ready mid-June, so in about a month from now. And then we have the SEKUR Voice, which is going to be in September, October, encrypted calls to anyone in the world without having to dial their phone number, which is, again, the same concept of you invite somebody with a link, they open, they can chat with you. And then SEKUR Pro, which is our answer to video conferencing.
Yeah, okay, I was going to ask about that, because we're doing so much of that. And no doubt about it, there's confidential things being exchanged over video.
Of course.
So this is a secure video.
I mean, we have the oil and gas industry right now that's pretty big, right? These people have confidential data, how much they get out of a well. You got the pharmaceutical industry, biotech industry, and financial has always been known that you have conversations that are confidential. But if you look at some of these big companies, that the one that especially that we all use, they have been fined several times between $80 to $100 million because they sell your data. So our goal is this. Our goal, I mean, we're not going to be able to compete with Microsoft and Zoom and things like that. But we're going to say, listen, if you're a C-level executive, if you're in certain industries, you typically don't have conferences with 500 people. It limits you to 20. And that is the tranche of people that will just pay whatever it costs to get that privacy. The product will cost $50 a month per user. It will include all our services. And $50 a month is really not expensive for a board member, for C-level executives, or other people in the medical industry. And I think even citizens themselves, regular citizens like you and me, individuals, they'll pay for it. So yeah, that's an amazing product. And it'll be the culmination this year of everything we're launching. And then next year we have some other things planned.
Okay. Well, I mean, you and I have talked about how this is a growing industry, and we read about it every day. So it's definitely a solution that people need. So.
And now that people work from home or travel is more restricted, let's say, it's a great tool. And companies are trying to save money too. They can't always send somebody on business class to travel just to say hi. Now they have that habit, well, if it's critical, I'm going to send this executive. If it's not, we're just going to do a conference on video. And that's where the business is going to grow like crazy in the next few years.
Okay. Thank you so much, Alon.
Thank you.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app.
The technology behind Rego payment architecture enables banks, retailers, families as well, to be able to offer digital wallets. And in particular, they have a product, Missoula, that is geared toward families and protection of kids. And with me is Stewart Harvey, the chairman of the board of advisors for Rego Payment Architecture. Welcome, Stewart. Great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You have a lot of experience in kind of the payment space. Give me a synopsis of your career.
Well, I'm a payments guy. My entire career has focused on financial technology, payments, related software businesses. So I've run companies like Elavon, which is a very traditional credit and debit card processor. I ran Ceridian Corporation, and our payment subsidiary was Comdata, which was one of the largest fleet card issuers. Most recently, I was the chairman of the board of PaySafe, which is now public. And that focuses on digital wallet solutions, credit and debit card processing, as well as prepaid cards, which we call our eCash solution.
Okay.
So I've done a lot around payments and fintech, and I just love the industry.
And so that led you to the chairman position of Rego. And tell me about what attracted you to that. Someone with your extensive experience, why was this a special opportunity?
Well, I think, Jane, you get to a point in your career, how do I take this payments experience, payments knowledge, industry knowledge, and a fair amount of capital markets experience? How do you do some good with that? What can you apply to do good? And Rego just captivated me with the management team and their board, with Peter Palullo and his team, Steve Kravitz. They are all about protection of children.
Yeah.
And their whole mission is about the protection of children in a payments environment. So as I looked into it, I looked at the functionality of what Missoula, their payment button and their payment application does, their product, and what the Rego platform does. And I became not just enamored with it, but so supportive of just the idea of what they do. And it really is about protection of children when they're engaged in online commerce. So anytime a child is making some kind of payment or buying something or something or responding to a promotion on the internet and they want to effect a payment, it should be COPPA compliant. And that's the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. And Missoula is the only app, the only payment button, the only digital wallet solution that is fully compliant with COPPA. So that to me is very meaningful. I mean, the issues around children and children abuse are very, very substantial.
Yeah.
Children are abused in this country every day by the millions. They're trafficked. They're abused to the point of death. It's incredibly sad. And by using the Missoula pay function and using the application there, inappropriate data, let alone their identity, is not revealed.
Yeah.
And these kids deserve protection.
No,
deserve
for sure.
protection.
And I mean, because there are other options out there for kids' wallets, but they will market to them based on where they're making purchases. There are some other information that could be released, like their location or maybe their home. I mean, so Missoula, that's what makes them unique.
Yes.
So that's a really important thing. I mean, where else can the platform be used in terms of Rego? Because I guess they do things
Sure.
other than Missoula.
Well, it actually helps parents. It starts with parents and the parent-child relationship, because parents can really use it as a tool. They can be aware of what children are authorized to spend, how much they're allowed to spend, so they have control. They see there's transparency about how the use of the app is and the payment button is used. It also protects merchants. It's a two-sided network, because if a merchant adopts this, they know that they're compliant. They don't have to worry about being fined or having some regulatory issues with this. But to your point, I mean, banks can use this. Anyone in the payment value chain that's driving commerce, anywhere in that ecosystem, payments ecosystem, the Missoula application or the pay button has a place there, as dedicated to the protection of children.
Right, and that's where the architecture comes in, that it's
Right.
really available to anybody. And what kind of information then can they get from that if it's not a child? 'Cause
Right.
adults could use this too.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Well, again, it's not children's identity, it's not personal information. What retailers like are just kids' spending habits, right?
Right.
What are trends in the industry? What are, COPPA goes up to the age of 13, okay? So it's interesting how much kids influence parents' buying behavior, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's video games, whether it's other types of sports equipment or whatever they're buying online, it's amazing the data. So there is data that's captured, but it's not personal data. It's not identity. It's not things that would violate the COPPA legislation.
Just basically what a business would want to know, but nothing that would violate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about so you mentioned COPPA,
Right.
and then we know Europe has the GDPR.
Right.
What's going on in terms of legislation in
Yeah.
Congress about data and
Well,
kids?
great question. You know what? We live in this polarized political society, right? And there's hard to find Congress agreeing on anything. But the good news for us and the good news for kids is the COPPA legislation, the GDPR for kids legislation, is one of the very few bipartisan efforts that really is gaining strength.
Okay.
Both sides of Congress view the protection of children and children's data to be paramount, to make it a priority. So even though this COPPA Act was developed back in 1998 and GDPR came later, it's actually getting enforced more and more.
Okay.
The FTC is the enforcement authority. There's all kinds of fines that have been doled out to companies like TikTok or YouTube or even Weight Watchers if they misappropriate data. And not only are they protecting up to the age of 13 right now, there's a lot of bipartisan legislation that's in process that would raise the age to the protection up to the age of 16.
Okay.
And you think about the buying universe between 13 and 16, no one else is really covering that. So there's to your point, there's other digital wallet solutions.
Yeah.
There's PayPal, there's others that are very good, but they're not dedicated to the protection of children. And that's where I think Rego is very special.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
Growing clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
I'm Jane King. Welcome to the New York Stock Exchange. With me is Jesse Agrode-Reich, who's going to explain Splinterlands to us. And always fascinated to hear what you're doing with Splinterlands. Very cool project. Give us an update on what Splinterlands is and what you're doing right now.
Sure. Splinterlands is a trading card game, and it's built using a blockchain, and that allows our gamers to play anytime, trade anytime, and earn every win. And what our goal is really to become the first completely decentralized video game that's ever existed.
Yeah.
You know, there have been little pieces that have been parts of this game or that, but we have a whole governance system that we're building and putting in place, and the whole hope is to really make this game owned by the players themselves. You know, we'll help develop it, but it's truly the gamers that operate the game.
Yeah. Why was that important to build the game on the blockchain?
You know, we've watched companies that would ban players. They'd make it pretty far in tournaments, or they'd have or they'd say something that negative about the company, or they'd have a political view that the company didn't like. They'd ban players. You could see it with assets. You know, people would collect skins or characters or something, and it would have value, but then the game would just ban those players or ban those items, is sometimes amounting in like hundreds of thousands of dollars of losses.
Okay.
So, you know, really to protect the gamer's interest, you know, the more decentralized it is, the more protected your assets are, and the more that it's truly yours.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of that going on these days.
No, it's terrifying.
It's horrible.
I mean, it's so much of this world is politicized and split into teams that are really at each other's throats. And so, you know, what used to be a cordial relationship between, you know, different people with different ideas is now hostile.
Yeah.
And if you could like take away hundreds of thousands of dollars from somebody through a game, or really any mechanism possible for any kind of viewpoint you don't like, it's cheered, it's celebrated. Yeah. So, you know, that's a terrifying place to be, and we prefer decentralization.
No, I agree with you. I think it is very terrifying where we are right now, globally and in the U.S. in particular. So talk a little bit about the exciting things that you're doing right now with Splinterlands.
So the one that I'm the most excited about is what we're calling the validator nodes. So in order for this game to operate, we want it to be as decentralized as possible. And that really, you know, this is not just one tool and we're done, but this is really one of the first tools that we can do to decentralize token control, to start all of the voting within the game, and to really give this is a starting point of the players getting full control of the game. And it starts with this set of validator nodes, so that it's not just us reporting scores, but it's us reporting scores and validated by the entire community. And that's, again, about protecting assets, there's a lot of income or there's a lot of earnings from playing. And so making sure that it's going to the right people and trustlessly. And this is all part of that. So starting at the end of May, you know, we've built our game, we sold some land, we built tournaments, and now that some of the core features are in place, we're like, okay, now let's try to decentralize this thing even more, because it's built on a blockchain, so there's some inherent properties of that make it decentralized, but it's just not enough for us. So starting at the end of the month, we have the pre-sale for the validators coming out, and then later in Q3 or Q4, the first set of functionality for the validators should be here. You know, these things are in testnet, so we're pretty excited about where they're at, but it still takes a little bit of time for QA and bugging to make sure that they're okay.
Sure. Does somebody have to understand how blockchain works?
A little bit. You know, we're going to try to have we're going to try to make this as simple as possible. You know, if you've never done it, you know, it's going to take a little bit of learning to operate one of these nodes. You got to rent a server, you have to download some programs to it so that it runs. But after like the initial setup, which can be, you know, mildly tricky, after that it just kind of runs in the background. And then whenever the community votes to go do updates, you'd have to make some updates to the server, but really it should just be able to operate smoothly in the background.
The profile of the user? I know it's global.
Yeah, I mean, it really spans everybody, and I think the rental market is a big part of that. So, you know, I kind of think of it as the people with time, the people with money, and the people with time and money. So the people with time are typically the gamers, and they like playing the matches and all the different rule sets and all the different combinations and really nerding out about the game. The people with money like all the rental aspects. So, you know, they'll buy a giant collection and then they'll rent those cards out to the other players. There's so much money that you can earn earn in this game that it makes sense to rent the cards to earn, which means that there's this entire other class of, basically digital asset landlords that come in, purchase assets to rent. And then lastly is a group that has money and time. Those guys, I don't know how they got there, but they'll buy huge collections.
And I haven't either. How does this happen?
I have no idea. They're incredible. They're like people that were into Ethereum when it was 10 cents. Yeah. And now they have zounds of money and unlimited time. And they'll sit around and they'll buy lots of assets and play all day. I've seen it happen.
Is it mobile and PC-based?
Yeah, the mobile usage is still a little bit less. It's a browser-based game,
okay.
and our goal is to keep putting out other browser-based games. We recently described a partnership with Warner Music Group, and so the goal is to go put out some music entertainment and bring that audience in and help them onboard into crypto. And then there's some sports things that we're doing as well. So not all of them are announced, but we have multiple projects that we're working on to take this from a single game to multiple games that we support. And ultimately what we want to do is build a blockchain version or a Web 3.0 version of like a video game marketplace. Okay. And it's not that simple though, because trying to get people to get their games, which function in sort of like free-to-play worlds or console games or something, making it so that they can distribute rewards is actually a very complex task. And so I think it'll be this kind of mix of us helping to build this marketplace, but also help games transition into it and learn how to do all these things.
Yeah, okay. And just, where's the website where somebody can find out?
Splinterlands.com is the place to go, and come join our community. We live in Discord, Twitter, and Telegram, and just searching for Splinterlands will help you find us in all of those.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jesse.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue-cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Capital is a multifaceted yield-generating organization, a DeFi as a service or DeFi 4.0. Empire Capital offers farming as a service, infrastructure as a service, and is assisting in normalizing DeFi and cryptocurrencies as a whole as well. And additionally, Empire Capital partnered with Sanam Digital and created a game-changing iOS and Android app called Roundify through open banking technology. So it allows those in and outside of crypto to build a DeFi portfolio by making everyday real-world purchases through the app. And with me is the Chief Operating Officer, Lachlan Purnell, to talk more about this. Just explain Empire Capital. I gave a little bit of an overview, but it's complicated. So it is. So tell me what the company is all about.
Well, like you said, we offer a lot. We have a very wide ecosystem under our belt. But just generally, what we're looking to do is improve the ability for the public to access the world of DeFi. We're looking to improve the quality of services offered in DeFi, the infrastructure, and we're also looking to bridge the world of traditional finance and decentralized finance.
Okay, so just talk a little bit about this, your partnership with Sanam. What is that all about? What does that offer people?
Yeah, so with Sanam Digital, they're helping us build the Roundify app. And so the Roundify is really an easy way for the general public to get into the cryptocurrency world. Like the vast majority of investors haven't got into cryptocurrency or DeFi, and with Roundify, it'll be made really easy.
Yeah, and then I said a bunch of stuff there, like farming as a service, infrastructure as a service. Explain that, what that means.
Yeah, so basically we offer developer services. So any project wants to launch a token or an NFT, some kind of new DeFi protocol, or just anything really on the blockchain, they come to us, and on the back end of things, we build everything, we code it, we get it audited and verified by our auditing partners. And then we build the front end, so that's the website that hooks into the blockchain, and it's just the graphics, the UI, the dashboard, basically everything they need. And then obviously we're trying to build that infrastructure between CeFi and DeFi. So that's with the Roundify app. And yeah, just generally like I said, we have a large amount of services we offer. Yeah. So we also have audited smart contracts. So this is infrastructure people can just hook into. It's very well beta tested by other projects, by ourselves. And so that's things like staking contracts, that's cross-chain bridges, and that's Launchpad.
So if I wanted to build something, I could go to your service and you would help me build a dApp?
Yeah, basically, exactly.
Okay. All right, interesting. So, I mean, that's a lot that you've got going on. I mean, who's kind of your main customer? Who are you looking at?
Well, it depends on what service they want to use. So obviously we tap into the developer side of things. So developers come to us, and then we also offer the ECC token, and that's really for consumers or investors. Basically, we're making it DeFi made easy. It's a one-stop shop for getting exposure to DeFi. So if you hold ECC, in effect, you're getting exposure to an entire range of yield-generating income streams from DeFi, and it all just flows back into that one token.
Yeah. Now, this is a very fast-changing industry. How do you keep up on all this stuff?
You hook in 24/7, and you just try to keep up. Yeah. There's a saying, like, in cryptocurrencies, the industry moves at the pace that the fastest person is willing to sprint. So we're trying to sprint, but it's also a marathon. We're just trying to keep up to date as much as possible. Just trying to, it's hard. There's so much going on.
I'll hear a new term, and I'm like, wait, I thought I knew a lot about this, and that's a brand new thing.
Exactly.
In a way, it makes it fun and exciting, but it's also challenging.
For sure.
Well. So explain Empire Capital Tokenomics.
Yeah. So basically, I'll just use like an analogy to like a stock, just to make it a bit easier maybe for our audience. So just say you had a stock. So you buy a share, we have a fee on transfer. So whenever you're doing a buy order or a sell order, there's a 10% fee. So on the buy side, 1% is burned, which means it's destroyed. So the total supply is going down over time. This means there's deflationary impact, right? So that's just, basic supply and demand. Mm-hmm. And then 9% is what we call reflected. So the reflection mechanic means that if you're holding a stock and someone else buys a stock, that part of that 9% fee is then going to end up in your own wallet. So if you held 1% of ECC, you would then get 1% of the 9% of every buy order. And we recently bridged from Binance Smart Chain to Ethereum, so we're now on both chains. And so the equivalent would be, just say you had a stock on the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange at the same time, and no matter where the buy is happening, you're getting more in your wallet. And so that's just auto-compounding, automatically happens.
Yeah.
On the sell side of things, it's a 10% fee as well. 2% is making more liquidity to allow more participants to get in. 4% is to our marketing wallet, and that's just obviously for general awareness. And then 4% goes into our treasury, which makes investments into a wide range of income streams, pulls it back to the token.
Okay, explain the treasury a little bit more. How does that work?
Yeah, so the treasury is really the backbone of what gives the ECC token value. So this treasury is fed by the sell tax, and then we have these fund managers that look at all these different income streams within DeFi. So we're looking at protocols on Ethereum, Solana, Phantom, Avalanche, basically wherever. And once a certain ROI has been achieved, the profits from that are then used to buy back the ECC token. So it's kind of like if you had a VC firm, that the profits from the investments they make then go back into buying back their own share.
Interesting, innovative approach to DeFi. So thank you so much, Lachlan.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks for having me on.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. Walnut is an Israel-based sales and information company that helps other businesses showcase their products and services. And with me is the co-founder and CEO, Yoav Vilner, to explain more about Walnut and exactly what you're doing. So I was interested to hear you've only been around a couple of years, but you were already have some impressive credentials. So let's just start, Yoav, with what it is that Walnut is doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First of all, it's great to be here. So Walnut is a platform that lets technology businesses showcase and demonstrate their products in a whole new manner that's been kind of named by several major outlets as a revolution currently taking place in the sales demos, product demo space, where companies realize that the prospects need to get better experiences. This is the space we're lucky enough to pioneer. So our technology lets them create instances of their interactive demo they want to create, assuming prospect A and prospect B should not necessarily see the exact same demo, reducing the amount of bugs and freezes and crashes that happens. They also happened in history to pretty significant people, like when Bill Gates tried to showcase Windows 98 on live TV and it broke, and Steve Jobs tried to connect iPhone 4 to Wi-Fi and it broke.
It happened to the best of us. Well, we also saw Elon Musk. Wasn't he trying to prove like the windows weren't shatter-proof? Yes. And they were. And so, yes, it happens to the best of us.
Exactly.
Well, so it's not virtual reality, or is it? Or like, explain how this works. Like, how might a company use what you're doing?
Right. So it's a platform where the sales team would log on to Walnut, and they would use Walnut to pick the main aspects of their actual product, their SaaS dashboard they're trying to sell to the prospect. And they would use our editor to customize, drag and drop, change the logo, change the branding design, change the flow so it fits a specific use case. Because if you're a prospect coming from if you're a cyber company, you shouldn't necessarily see the same demo as a gaming company, for instance. And so that the provider of the software can create a demo that will tell you, here's the story and here's the value that you're going to get from the product. You can create it once and send it to 1 million prospects. You can scale it within your organization. And that's kind of how it works right now. Okay, interesting. And you have some big clients as well. Can you tell me about who's signed on? Yeah, so like you said, we've only been around for less than 2 years, and we're now serving almost 200 customers, ranging from Fortune companies to smaller technology companies. You can find the likes of Adobe, Dell, as much as you can find startups at the 50 people, 100 people range. Yeah, and you've just had a big capital raise. Explain that. What are you going to use for the money? What are you going to use the money for? Yeah, sure. So we started our first year with raising 2.5 million seed round, and we ended our first year raising 56 million, which was led by several top funds from Silicon Valley and Israel and London. Alongside C-levels and executives from companies like Google and GitHub and HubSpot and Salesforce and etc. And we're going to use the money to grow massively across the board. So technology, making the platform into a real integral part of the sales stack. We focus a lot on our marketing and brand and go-to-market efforts. And building something very, very impactful that will linger on.
Yeah, and you're headquartered in Israel, but you do have operations in the U.S. and in other countries as well?
Yes, so we're kind of more of a distributed company. So we have sites in Tel Aviv, we have sites in the U.S., Manhattan. We're going to have a site in Boston soon. And overall, we're almost 100 people currently distributed.
Okay. And just talk to me about the whole industry, this whole industry of helping companies showcase their products. Because it's kind of unique and new, right? What you're doing? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always think of how quick this whole thing happened from when we were like interviewing VP sales and they were like, okay, this is a nice idea. Did not exist. They didn't necessarily understand what we're doing up until the point where everyone's talking about it. It's a whole category now. This blooming, Gartner's writing a blog post about what we do. This all happened like in approximately a year and a half, which is kind of crazy. And I think it illustrates the craziness that's, that's been going on when you connect all kinds of dots. So sales became remote 2 years ago. SaaS is growing. Software companies need solutions, and everything just kind of connected.
Yeah. Well, very interesting. Thank you so much for joining us and explaining Walnut.
Thanks for having me.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
PETV has a unique tool to treat dogs, horses, and cats suffering from osteoarthritis. And with me is CEO John Lai to bring us up to date on what PETV is doing. And I know last time we talked, a few months ago, you were doing a lot of hiring. How is that going?
It's going really well. We talked about hiring 3 and then 5 follow along. And so we hired a regional sales manager for the Midwest West region from Iowa, Nebraska West, and then another one for Midwest East from Illinois going east.
Okay.
And also we hired a regional sales manager covering the Southeast United States, Florida, Georgia, and so on. So we're starting to get good coverage in the area, and these are all very seasoned people. I think the least amount of experience in the veterinary sales, she has 25 years.
Oh, wow.
The other guys are 30 years. They have been national sales directors of other companies in the space and been responsible for hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in sales in the space.
So let's back up for a second and just tell me a little bit about, we talked about your technology several times, but maybe this is the first time some people have seen it. So explain the Spring technology, what animals it's for, and all that.
So we developed a protein particle matrix, which is patented and trademarked, and the name is Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The uniqueness of the technology is we can treat osteoarthritis, joint afflictions, as well as for rehab. We're finding that the rehab time is significantly shorter. So the product is delivered through an interarticular injection into the joint. Once it's injected into the joint, it starts to form a matrix, and it forms a scaffolding. And it mimics the cartilage that used to be there. So it's a purely mechanical function. It's a veterinary device. But from that standpoint, we found that it lasts at least a year, which is unique in its sense, and it's addressing the problem of what's causing osteoarthritis and other joint afflictions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you go to a lot of conferences and
promote the product? Tell me about where you've been lately. How has it been received?
The product has been received very well. And it's principally, a lot of it is due to veterinary doctors talking within the veterinary network. There's various networks that vets ask questions to each other.
Okay.
And we're seeing a lot of our cases showing up there. And it's leading to vet clinics or veterinarian doctors just calling in to find out about the product. And then they end up ordering it, they try it out, and it's a great conversion ratio we're having.
The good old word of mouth marketing.
Well, that's always the best marketing.
It is.
A referral from a friend.
Right,
the adoption rate is so much higher. So every week we're at a different conference for the veterinary space. Principally, we're focused right now more on the low-hanging fruit, which is the equine side.
Okay.
And from that standpoint is these vets see the horses pretty rapidly, pretty often. They do the injection, the horse goes out and does a rodeo. It comes back in, the vet says, oh wow, this is really holding up. We don't have to do anything to take the stress or pain off the horse. So they end up adopting the product. And the owners love it because it's providing great comfort for the animal, as well as it's a major cost savings because they don't have to tap the joints to drain fluid if there's issues. And we're finding out it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and it's for horses, cats, and dogs.
Horses and dogs. Cats will be coming later.
Okay, got it. And then there's some clinical studies going on as well?
Actually, there are studies because we don't need the FDA. We're already cleared through them from the veterinary standpoint. So these studies are helping our salespeople from a marketing standpoint because we know the product works. We see how the product outperforms many of the other therapies out there. So we just have to prove it. And that's where really rapid adoption will occur. And it's posted up on our website, springhealth.com.
So that'll give you the data to show to somebody.
On the equine side, they're much easier to adopt because they see the results right away.
Right. Okay.
And it's a much tighter community than the canine.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then what is Pet Vivo Cares?
So next week, we're launching a nonprofit called petvivocares.org. The mission is to donate to other nonprofit organizations to improve the quality of life of the pet. So, target sort of like military dogs, military horses, police dogs, police horses, humane societies. We want to create a better life for the animals and the owners. One classic example is we donated some syringes to a service dog, and the service dog did extremely well. Too well, actually. It jumped the fence. And it was so it became an issue for the owner. The owner goes, now I got to be careful about the dog running like it never could before.
Right.
So
the dog was probably loving that.
I know. It's some of the side effects that is interesting that you don't think about. But it's a good story. It's a good feel-good story.
Right. Thank you so much, John, for coming back.
Thank you, Jane.
Welcome, everyone. This is your Secure Privacy and Security segment with Elaine Guy, the CEO of Secure Private Data. How are you doing today, Elaine?
Hi, Anna. Doing great. Sorry about the background. I'm in New York, traveling, meeting a bunch of partners and investors, but happy to be here.
Well, lots happening for you in Secure, especially this summer, launching a lot of new products. We're excited to hear about them. But let's talk about our weekly hack. The rise of remote work is obvious. It's global. But that also means that people and companies who are working remotely or allowing their workers to work remotely, they're much more vulnerable for cyber criminals. So give us some ways that we can protect ourselves.
Yeah, so what's interesting is since COVID, essentially, when we had to do remote work, we have all been using our home network and, sometimes home computers. And of course, those are not as secure as an enterprise one. And that's a big issue. I mean, I talked about it, I think maybe a while back, where if you call a call center, let's say your credit card, your bank, a lot of those are overseas in India and the Philippines, and these people had to work at home as well. There was a huge wave of hack and data theft overseas with those people that are working from home, and the US is not immune to it. So now that COVID is abated a lot, we still have these hybrid work mode where people will work 2 days a week at the office, or sometimes full on from home. And now that's the problem, and the hackers know that, so they can get into the home network, they can get into your computer, your phone, or remote access tools that they use, what they call RAT attack, and phishing and things like that. So that's a big issue, because you're not in a $80 million building where the latest of technology and security is with your own IT department 2 floors up. This is literally you at home, and if the connection is sometimes even shoddy, right? So it's unsecure, and even if you have a server at home or a router that has some kind of password, the funny part is the most popular password every year is a password. It's odd. The second one, I think, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So people don't have complex password. People can come into the home router, get into your system. It's easy to do. So you need to use tools on the net that themselves provide you a very high level of privacy and security, typically.
Right, but even on our company's email, that can be vulnerable for a data breach, right? So we've heard of tons of stuff happening with Microsoft and whatnot. So let's break down how Secure comes in to aid in this, especially when it comes to sending and receiving very valuable information that we want private and protected.
Well, it's interesting because you said sending and receive. When we're home, all we do is email. If you're in an office with colleagues, you may go to the next door or, to the office and talk with someone, or in a conference room. But now literally everything you do is through email and chat. Let's not forget about chat. Everybody uses those big tech free platforms that are completely unsecure and not private. So you need to think at a different level. You need to have, we provide our secure email and secure messenger, part of the secure bundle. And the reason why we offer a lot more privacy, first of all, we have our own infrastructure, so we don't use the third-party big tech platforms that we mention all the time. We don't do API integration with, gazillion developers to connect to everything, because the more you have an open system, the more somebody can come in and take advantage of it and exploit it and inject malware, etc. So we don't do any of that. And we have our email system that has a secure send feature, which is a really cool feature. You should go to secure.com, and then you go to the support and the video tutorial, and there's a video that shows how to use secure send. And secure send is a way for you to send an email to anybody in the world. They get a notification with a little link for them to click, and then when they click on it, they're in Switzerland just like you, because our communication system, nothing leaves our server in Switzerland. internet. So there's no ISP that can read, there's no hacker that can spoof and read in transit anything, right? Because the content doesn't fly around all over the internet. And that's an amazing tool. And we would recommend people to do that. You have to go to our webmail. When you buy SEKUR, you can go to SEKUR.com, but then you go to SEKUR Mail, it'll open the webmail. And soon enough, probably by mid-June, we'll have our own email app as well with SEKUR Send on it. So that's for the email. If everybody uses a SEKUR, if you have a business, you can migrate your domain to us. We now offer business emails with your own domain names, of course. And then I would recommend to use SEKUR Messenger when you chat.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thanks, Anna. Happy to be here. Thanks, everyone, for watching our SEKUR segment.
You are fighting a constant battle against sickness and disease, but there's a biological force inside your body that wants to protect you. You must do everything you can to keep these defenses up. In his groundbreaking new book, Dr. Bob Lahita has revealed 5 key steps you can take to boost your natural healing power from the inside out. Give yourself the fighting chance you deserve and keep sickness at bay. Get Dr. Bob's book today, free with our special offer. Go online or call the number on your screen.
I'm Jack. I was a rodeo cowboy. That's how I made a living and raised my family for 25 years. I was really weak and I couldn't do a sit-up. I couldn't hardly get around. And a friend of mine told me about balance of nature, and he says, don't be, naive enough not to try it. It can't hurt you, and I know it'll make you feel better. And I'm old school. That's what we've been taught. Fruits and vegetables are the things you got to have, and taking the balance of nature just started making me stronger. Every day it was just a little better. I've taken balance of nature now for 15 years, and I think everybody should take it. The balance of nature is a big part of keeping me going.
Start your journey with the best fruit and vegetable product on the market right now. Call 1-800-246-8751.
Transparency, right? No. We'd like to ask them about the laptop.